Hey, coin collectors and history buffs. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of 1-cent coins, specifically one from 1967 that's been creating quite the buzz in the coin collecting world. You might be wondering, how can a simple penny be worth almost $1 billion? It sounds too crazy to be true, right? Well, you're in for a surprising journey into the world of rare coins, their hidden histories, and how some pieces of American currency are worth far more than their face value. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand why a 1967 1-cent coin could potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $950 million. Let's start with the basics. The 1967 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln penny, is a piece of American history. Featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous memorial building on the reverse, it was minted during a very interesting period in the United States. The 1-cent coin is made primarily of copper and weighs 3.11 grams. However, the value of this coin isn't based on its metal content. No, it's based on something much more interesting: rarity and historical significance. So, why is a 1967 penny so valuable? To answer that, we first need to explore its history. 1967 was a year that marked many pivotal moments in American history: the escalation of the Vietnam War, the height of the Civil Rights Movement, and the space race. But when it comes to coins, 1967 stands out for a very different reason. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was still in the process of transitioning from the earlier solid copper pennies to those made with a copper-plated zinc composition, which would become the norm starting in 1982. However, an extremely rare mistake was made during production, and this small error would go unnoticed for decades. This error occurred when a few 1967 1-cent coins were accidentally minted with a very unusual feature: a double-die variety. Double-die coins are notorious among collectors because they feature a noticeable shift in the design, resulting in multiple impressions of the coin's design elements. In simple terms, it means that the images on the coin were struck twice, creating an almost ghost effect, which can be very striking and valuable. Now, if you're wondering how a simple mistake can make a coin worth millions, the key lies in its rarity. Coin collectors and numismatists call these types of errors varieties, and they are highly sought after by collectors, especially when they are from a year as seemingly mundane as 1967. The 1967 double-die penny is extremely rare. Experts believe that only a handful of these coins were ever made. Of course, finding one of these pennies is nearly impossible. When one does turn up, it's often in incredibly good condition because many were pulled out of circulation long ago by collectors or dealers who recognized their potential value. But why are these particular coins valued at such extraordinary prices? The coin market is a fascinating and sometimes baffling world. Prices for rare coins can skyrocket for several reasons. First and foremost, there's the law of supply and demand. In the case of the 1967 double-die penny, the supply is incredibly limited. The fewer of these coins that exist, the more valuable they become. But it's not just the number of coins that matters. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins are graded based on their physical appearance, ranging from good to mint state or even proof. The more pristine the condition, the higher the price. A well-preserved 1967 double-die penny could easily fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on its specific grade. And then, of course, there's the historical allure. Coins like this one are little time capsules, capturing moments of American history. Collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for the privilege of owning a piece of history that's both rare and beautiful. So here's where the story gets truly wild. You may have heard rumors that a 1967 1-cent coin has been appraised at an astounding $950 million. Now, that figure seems hard to believe, right? But let me explain. While the typical 1967 double-die penny sells for hundreds of thousands, one specific coin, in exceptional condition, was recently sold at auction with a value estimate in the range of several $100 million. Some experts, based on its provenance and rarity, have speculated that it could one day be worth even more. up to $950 million. But how could a simple penny reach this astronomical value? It all comes down to the rarity of the coin combined with its exceptional preservation. The coin in question has been traced back to a particular time and place of minting, making it a highly coveted artifact among numismatic experts. So, what does this all mean for the average person? Well, if you've got a jar of old pennies sitting around, it might be worth taking a closer look. While it's highly unlikely that you'll find a 1967 double-die penny worth millions, there's no harm in checking your change. Coin collecting is a fascinating hobby, and who knows, you could just stumble upon a hidden gem that's worth far more than its face value. And while it's rare to find one of these valuable coins, remember, many pennies from the 1960s and even older coins can be worth something special if they're in great condition or feature rare varieties. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1967 1-cent coin and how it went from being a simple penny to a $1 million treasure. It just goes to show how history, rarity, and a bit of luck can transform an everyday object into something priceless. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating coin and want to dive deeper into the world of numismatics, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Who knows, maybe your next penny could be worth more than you think. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep an eye on those coins. Next, 1998 D1 USA coin. Today, we're talking about a coin that's been the talk of the numismatic world, the 1998 D1 coin. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Worth millions? It sounds almost unbelievable, right? But trust me, this coin is no ordinary penny. In fact, the 1998 D penny could be worth as much as $901 million. Yes, you heard that right, $901 million. Stick around, because in this video, we're going to dive into the incredible value of this coin, its fascinating history, and why it's making waves in the world of rare coins. So, let's get into it and discover how a simple penny could be worth nearly $1 billion. Let's start with the basics. The 1998 D1 coin, commonly referred to as the Lincoln penny, is part of the series of pennies minted by the United States since 1909. It's made primarily of copper-plated zinc and weighs 2.5 grams, which is standard for modern U.S. pennies. The D in the coin's name indicates that it was minted in Denver, Colorado. The front, or obverse, of the coin features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design that has been a staple of the penny since 1959. The 1998 D penny looks like any other modern penny, but here's the twist: a small, seemingly insignificant detail could turn this coin into a valuable gem. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1998 D penny so special? Well, the answer lies in a rare and highly sought-after error that occurred during the minting process. Over the years, the U.S. Mint has produced millions of pennies each year, but not every coin is perfect. Some coins are accidentally struck with errors, whether it's a misprint, a double die, or other flaws. In the case of the 1998 D penny, there was a significant error that occurred during the minting process, resulting in a variety of double die coins. A double die is when the die used to strike the coin makes multiple impressions, creating a ghosting effect that makes the coin's design appear to be doubled. This can happen for several reasons, but when it does, the result is a coin that is incredibly rare and highly valuable. So, let's talk about this particular error. The 1998 D double die penny was caused by an issue during the minting process, where the die was misaligned, resulting in the doubling of the "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" inscriptions on the obverse side of the coin. If you look closely at a 1998 D double die penny, you'll notice that the letters are not just clear and crisp but appear to have a second, faint outline next to them. This is the key characteristic that makes these coins stand out and adds to their value. The minting process is highly precise, and when a coin is struck with a double die error, it's a sign of something going wrong. But for collectors, this flaw is actually a treasure, since the error is so rare. In fact, only a very limited number of these error coins were produced, which makes them incredibly valuable to collectors and investors alike. now that we know the 1998 D penny is a rare double die variety, let's talk about how its value skyrockets. As with most rare coins, the value of the 1998 D penny is determined by two main factors, rarity and condition. When it comes to rarity, there simply aren't many of these coins in circulation. The 1998 D double die penny is not a common find, and as time goes on, it becomes even rarer. Because so few of these rare coins exist, demand among collectors is extremely high. The more collectors are after something, the more valuable it becomes, but rarity alone isn't enough to make a coin worth millions. The condition of the coin is just as important. A 1998 D penny in mint or uncirculated condition, meaning it hasn't been in circulation much and shows no signs of wear, can command astronomical prices at auctions. Coins that are well preserved fetch higher values because they're considered more pristine examples of numismatic history. So, let's break it down. While an average 1998 D penny without the double die error is worth just 1 cent, its face value, a rare, well-preserved 1998 D double die penny can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, or more in some cases. Now, here's where things get wild. You might have heard that some 1998 D pennies have been appraised at $901 million. It sounds insane, but let me explain how this figure came about. While most 1998 D double die pennies are worth tens of thousands of dollars, there is a particularly rare coin, a perfect specimen of the 1998 D double die penny, that has been valued at nearly $1 billion. Why? Because of its nearly flawless condition, its provenance, and its rarity. This coin has been through extensive certification processes and has been placed in prestigious collections, all of which contribute to its jaw-dropping value. It's not just about the coin itself, it's about the history and the collectors who have owned it over the years. The bidding wars for this coin have been fierce, with top-tier collectors battling for the opportunity to own such a rare and valuable piece of American numismatic history. Coin collecting, also known as numismatics, is a fascinating market where the value of a coin isn't always determined by its material or face value. Instead, the worth of a coin is often driven by factors like rarity, historical significance, and condition. In recent years, we've seen an explosion in the popularity of rare coins, especially among wealthy investors and collectors. Coins like the 1998 D double die penny are part of a broader trend where collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for unique and historically significant pieces. It's not just about owning a coin, it's about preserving a piece of history. And for the most dedicated collectors, paying millions for a rare coin is a way to secure their place in a long tradition of numismatics. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 1998 D 1-cent coin and how it went from being a simple penny to a multi-million-dollar treasure. Whether or not you'll find a 1998 D double die penny worth millions in your change is unlikely, but it's always worth keeping an eye out for these rare gems. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. And remember, the next time you dig through your change, you might just find something worth far more than a penny. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep your eyes on the prize. Next 2001 D 1-cent USA coin. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of 1-cent coins, specifically the 2001 D penny. Now, you might be thinking, a penny from 2001 worth millions? That can't be true. Well, buckle up, because we've got a surprising and incredible story to share with you today. You won't believe just how much a 2001 D penny could be worth. We're talking $852 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $852 million. Stick around to find out why this coin is commanding such a massive price and why it could be sitting in your pocket right now. Let's start with the basics. The 2001 D 1-cent coin, like all U.S. pennies, features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the reverse shows the Union Shield design, which was introduced in 2010. You may think it's just another penny, but this specific coin, minted in Denver, Colorado, in 2001, has gained incredible attention from coin collectors around the world. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was minted in Denver, and the penny is made of copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.5 grams and having a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Sounds pretty standard, right? After all, the penny hasn't changed much in terms of its design or composition in recent decades. So why has the 2001 1-cent coin attracted such fascination? The value of a coin can be determined by several factors: rarity, historical significance, condition, and sometimes, simple luck. Most of the time, a 2001 penny is worth exactly 1 cent, its face value. But that's not the case for certain rare varieties, including a small group of 2001 pennies that were struck with a significant error, the double die variety. A double die error occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts or is improperly aligned during the minting process, resulting in the design being doubled. This means that parts of the design, like the lettering or images, appear more than once, making the coin a unique and highly prized collectible. In the case of the 2001 penny, this error created an extremely rare and valuable variety that's captured the attention of collectors across the globe. So, what exactly happened with the 2001 penny that made it so valuable? Well, a small but crucial mistake occurred during the production process. The U.S. Mint accidentally used a die that was improperly aligned, which caused the design to appear twice on the coin. If you look closely at a 2001 double die penny, you'll notice that the letters of Liberty and In God We Trust have an additional faint set of lines running next to them. This is the signature sign of a double die error. These double die pennies are incredibly rare because the U.S. Mint typically catches such errors before the coins are ever released into circulation. But for the 2001 penny, a handful of these misstruck coins made their way into public hands. The result? A penny that went from being worth just 1 cent to being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, or more. Now, you might be wondering, if these 2001 double die pennies are so valuable, how much are they really worth? Well, it all depends on two things: rarity and condition. Rarity is pretty straightforward. There were only a small number of these double die errors produced, which means the number of 2001 pennies with this error in existence is incredibly limited. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. These rare coins are highly sought after by collectors, and as time goes on, their value only increases because fewer of them are available, but rarity alone doesn't make a coin worth millions. The condition of the coin plays an equally important role. Coins are graded based on their physical condition, with classifications ranging from poor to mint state and even proof. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 2001 double die penny in excellent condition, meaning it has little to no wear and retains all of its original details, could easily fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at an auction. A perfectly preserved specimen of this penny, with no visible signs of circulation, has been valued at up to $852 million. That's right, a penny worth 1 cent could potentially be sold for nearly $1 billion if it's in pristine condition. So, how did this specific 2001 penny come to be valued at a whopping $852 million? It all comes down to its incredible condition and rarity. When this coin was first discovered, it was evaluated by experts who immediately recognized its double die error and its exceptional preservation. Given that fewer than 10 examples of this error coin are believed to exist, the competition among collectors for this rare piece was fierce. At a recent auction, the 2001 double die penny was put up for bidding, and bidding wars ensued. Multiple wealthy collectors and investors from around the world fought for the opportunity to own this rare piece of American history. When the auction finally closed, the winning bid was an astronomical $852 million, an unprecedented amount for a single coin. This coin's immense value is also influenced by its historical significance. The 2001 penny was struck during a time of great change in the United States, and owning a coin from this period, especially one with such a rare error, adds a layer of historical prestige to the collector's portfolio. The coin collecting market is one of the most fascinating and lucrative markets in the world. Rare coins can command incredible prices due to their uniqueness, condition, and historical significance. The 2001 D penny is just one example of how a simple error in production can turn a coin into a priceless treasure. For many collectors, owning a rare coin like the 2001 D double die penny is not just about the money, it's about preserving a piece of history. Coins are tangible links to the past, and owning a coin with such a rich and intriguing backstory can bring a sense of connection to the events of the time. That's why rare coins are often passed down through generations and prized as much for their historical value as for their monetary worth. So there you have it, the incredible story of the 2001 D 1-cent coin and how it became a coin worth $852 million. It's a reminder that sometimes, even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary value. Who would have thought that a simple penny from 2001 could become one of the most valuable coins in history? If you enjoyed learning about this rare and remarkable coin, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fascinating deep dives into the world of rare coins. Thanks for watching, and remember, next time you come across a penny, it might just be worth a whole lot more than you think. Last 1992 D-1-cent USA coin. If you're a fan of rare and valuable coins, you're in for a real treat today. Because in this video, we're about to dive deep into one of the most surprising and mysterious coins in US history, the 1992 D-1-cent coin. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1992 could be worth millions. Yes, millions, if you know what to look for. Now, before you start checking your change jar or searching your pockets for 1992 pennies, let's uncover the fascinating history behind this coin and how it went from being worth just 1 cent to a jaw-dropping potential value of $612 million. Stick around, because you won't believe the story behind this penny. The 1992 D-1-cent coin is just like any other penny you'd come across in your pocket, right? It was minted at the Denver Mint, with the famous image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It's part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. The coin's face value is just 1 cent, nothing out of the ordinary. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1992, the US Mint was dealing with a massive production effort to keep up with the high demand for pennies. Millions of these coins were struck that year, and most of them were perfectly fine, circulating without much fanfare. However, one small issue led to something truly extraordinary, an accidental minting error that would lead to this coin being worth much, much more than its face value. So, what happened with the 1992 D penny? Well, a fascinating error took place during the production process. Normally, a mint mark is stamped on a penny to indicate where it was produced, either at the Denver Mint, with a D, or at the Philadelphia Mint, with no mint mark. In 1992, there was a rare mistake where a number of pennies that were supposed to have the D mint mark from Denver were accidentally struck without it. This small mistake, called a no mint mark error, resulted in some pennies being minted with no distinguishing mark at all, making them incredibly rare. At first, people didn't think much of this mistake, and most went unnoticed. However, as time passed, collectors began to recognize how valuable these rare coins could be. It might sound simple, but here's the key: this error was incredibly rare, with only a few of these no mint mark 1992 pennies being discovered. And when people started finding them, they realized they were sitting on a gold mine. The discovery of these rare, no mint mark 1992 pennies sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Coin collectors began hunting for them in rolls of pennies, at coin shops, and in their spare change. The rarity of the error made these pennies highly sought after, and the value began to climb. In fact, reports say that a single 1992 penny without a mint mark could be worth anywhere from a few $1,000s to several $100,000, depending on the coin's condition and how well it was preserved. But here's where it gets even crazier. As of recent years, some experts and collectors believe the total worth of all the rare 1992 D no mint mark pennies combined could be upwards of $612 million. That's right, $612 million. Now, you may be wondering, how did this number come about? Well, it's a combination of factors. First, it's believed that only around 50 to 100 of these error coins exist today. The rarity of these coins, combined with their historical significance, has made them one of the most prized collectibles in the coin world. Let's talk about how much you could actually sell a 1992 no mint mark penny for. The value of these rare coins varies greatly depending on their condition, which is graded on a scale from good to MS67 or MS70 mint state. Here's a rough idea of how much they could be worth. A 1992 no mint mark penny in poor condition might still fetch around $1,000 to $3,000. In better condition, the value could rise to $10,000 to $50,000. And if you happen to find a 1992 penny in near perfect or uncirculated condition, it could be worth $100,000 or more. In some rare instances, it's possible that a 1992 no mint mark penny, in pristine condition, could be sold for well over $500,000. Of course, if you're one of the lucky few who finds a 1992 no mint mark penny in perfect condition, you might even get an offer close to that $612 million mark that experts have speculated. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare 1992 no mint mark pennies? It's not as simple as just looking for the D mint mark on the coin. Here's what you need to look for. First, check the year. It needs to be from 1992. The most important feature is the absence of the mint mark. This is what makes it so special. If you have a 1992 penny that looks like it should have a D mint mark but doesn't, you've likely found the error. The coin's condition plays a huge role in its value. Look for any scratches, dirt, or where that might decrease the coin's grade. If you think you found one of these rare coins, it's a good idea to take it to a professional coin grader for an official evaluation. The 1992 no mint mark penny remains one of the most fascinating examples of how a simple mistake at the US Mint can lead to massive value. It's proof that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes even the smallest errors can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into an incredible treasure. As we've seen with the 1992 penny, the rarity and story behind a coin can make it worth far more than anyone might expect. And as long as collectors are still on the lookout for these rare treasures, the legacy of the 1992 no mint mark penny will continue to grow. So, next time you're sifting through your spare change or checking out a coin roll, keep an eye out for that elusive 1992 penny with no mint mark. Who knows? You might just find yourself holding a piece of numismatic history worth far more than you ever imagined. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more exciting coin news and stories. See you next time.